Alignment, tension, and access are Move Pain Free's 3 pillars for pain-free movement. When you're hitting on all of these, you're going to have a healthy back. However, if one of them is off, then you're setting yourself up for a life full of pain and injury. Let's review these 3 pillars. Alignment is how the bones line up relative to each other. As it pertains to the spine, we want to see the hips sit behind the ribs to give the spine this tilted S shape. We don't want to see the hips tucked forward or thrusted forward like this. What this does is it puts a lot of compression on the lower back. This doesn't mean you have to flare the ribs though to try and get your hips to sit behind the ribs. This in itself will actually cause a lot of compression in the back as well. Having the alignment be off in the spine is going to translate to your movement, as it's usually going to brace the spine and cause it to be immobile, and then you're going to have unnatural energy shifts as you go from one side of the body to the other. The best way to fix your alignment is to do exercises that tension your bones into proper alignment, which brings me to our next point, tension. To get proper alignment, you need to tension the body in a certain manner. For this, we use exercises that tension the whole body from the feet all the way up to the neck to teach the muscles how to pull in the way that they're designed to. Doing so, it will help your alignment when you're standing as well as when you're moving. Proper tensioning paired with proper alignment creates the third point, which is joint access. Joint access is the ideal amount of space in the joint for movement. Having too much access without proper tensioning is what makes you hypermobile. And you see a lot of pain coaches who are just really hypermobile because they lack proper tensioning. But you can also have a lack of joint access. So think of your heavy lifter who goes to run and they look like a brick. That would be a lack of joint access. You're very stiff, and as it pertains to the spine, you're unable to transfer energy from one side of the body to the other as you move forward through space. But it's not just lifters who can have a lack of joint space. It can also be the person who has a desk job and they're sitting all day, and then they get in their car and they drive home sitting, then to sit on the couch and watch TV. Everyone knows what text neck looks like, or that stereotypical desk posture. Your spine is supposed to be active. It's designed to sit in a tilted S shape and transfer energy from one side of the body over to the other. When the spine becomes stiff from excessive sitting or core brace training, it actually doesn't efficiently transfer energy from one side to the other. When this is the case, you put a lot of compression and a lot of pain on the disc and all parts of the spine. In order to have a healthy back, it needs to be in a long and decompressed shape, as well as have the ability to transfer energy from one side or the other. So then again, it boils down to those 3 pillars of having that proper alignment, having that proper tensioning to get the spine into proper alignment, and then to create the right amount of space for the spine to move without being hypermobile and without being overly braced. And you might be asking, well, what does this look like? And that's what we're going to look at next. An example of one healthy and active spine versus one not so healthy and active spine.
So what a good example looks like is going to be Ed Reed. Ed Reed is the king of movement, and he's the king of staying healthy, even playing a violent sport. So what we're going to see is as Ed comes to land on the ground, he's going to land with a straight foot. Then upon landing and loading all that weight onto that leg, what we're going to see is the hip and the ankle are going to work together as a result of landing on the ball of the foot and reverting that pressure to the outside part. So what this is going to do is the hip and ankle are going to work together, and it's going to get this knee to point out away from the middle of the body. And so if we look at the other leg as well, this knee is going to be pointing in the same direction. And then at landing, what we're going to see is the chest also point in said direction. Now, this is an example of a proper landing. To get the energy from this side of the body over to the other, what Ed's going to do is, as he continues loading weight onto this right leg, right before he goes to leave the ground, we're actually going to see the chest pointing in the opposite direction with those knees still pointing in the same direction. This is the active spine. This is the healthy spine that transfers energy from one side of the body over to the other. So then that way, As he goes to leave the ground, everything's going to turn in, and then we're going to get those same shapes on the other side of the body as he lands. Now, an example of the bat is going to come quite often with heavy lifters. So as we're going to see here with the Liver King, if we look at this crease in his back, it's going to stay relatively up and down. We're not going to get a lot of motion side to side. It's going to stay very straight, his chest is. And so then at the legs, if we look at the knees for our indicators, we're going to see the knees with one pointing out this way and one pointing pretty straight. They're not going to be in line with each other. So now we have this chest pointing forward, one leg straight, one leg completely out. We're not having a lot of organization here in movement. So as we continue, again, this crease is going to stay pretty up and down, not getting a lot of bend, not getting a lot of rotation from the spine like we're supposed to. And then the same thing's going to happen at the legs. We're going to have just a straight chest, straight landing leg. The leg on the left side is going to rotate out with that knee pointing out. There's a lot of disorganization here between Liver King's spine and Liver King's legs. This is what's going to cause a lot of back pain, that inability to transfer energy from one side of the body over to the other efficiently. So then another good visual is going to be this side-by-side still shot. So on the right side, we have Ed Reed. We can see the knees are pointing in the same direction, the chest pointing in the same direction, that foot being straight on the ball of it. And then on the left side, right away, we're going to see the duck foot. It's going to be a flat foot. That's the only reason his landed knee is pointing out. And then like the Liver King, both knees are pointing in two different directions, and that spine is staying straight up and down. It's very braced, so we're not getting any efficient energy transfer from one side of the body over to the other. If you have back pain, lower, middle, upper, anywhere, it's likely because the spine is not efficiently transferring energy from one side of the body over to the other, and it's not in a long and decompressed shape. If you have back pain, it's likely because you're not efficiently transferring energy from one side of the body over to the other. The spine is likely braced and very stiff, and it's not having that long and decompressed shape. And this is what Move Pain Free aims to fight against.
Click the link in the description for a free 3-day trial with the Move Pain Free system. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more information in the future about how you can live an active life moving pain-free.